What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. On today's episode, we'll be looking at how to test for the differences between a synthetic based fabric and a natural based fabric. Let's just say you're out shopping, Zara, H&M, wherever it may be, and you feel a shirt and you want to make sure that that shirt is either synthetic or it's natural. For some reason, they haven't specified on the label, right? What's a quick and easy way that you can determine? Well, the most direct way would be probably to do a burn test. So a burn test is where basically you take the fabric and you try to burn it under a lighter. Why does that work? Well, the easiest thing to know is synthetic fibers are made out of plastics. So they're based on plastics. They're basically just plastics made to look like fabrics. We make the fibers out of them, then we knit or weave the finished product. With organic or natural fibers, cotton, hemp, silk, so on and so forth, those are not going to burn because the components that they're constructed out of are non-flammable. But with synthetic fibers like polyester or nylon, the plastics which they are based off of are going to be flammable. But you're at a store and you haven't bought the garment yet. Obviously, you're not going to be burning it, and even if you did buy it, you don't want to burn the clothes. So how can you test to basically see which is synthetic and which is natural? That's exactly what we're going to be discussing on today's episode. Hey guys, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. Getting right into it, we can't do the burn test. So how do we tell the difference between these two fabrics? On the right side, I have a blend of cotton and hemp. This is our natural fabric. And on the left side, I have a peached or a brushed finish of polyester and spandex. To the normal touch, they feel almost identical. They feel very, very similar. This fabric is peach, so it kind of has this fuzzy finish that you typically associate with cotton, and this cotton hemp blend obviously feels very much like cotton. So how do we tell the difference? The easiest and most direct way to do this is to employ what is known as a crush test. We're going to try to see which of these fabrics creases. The characteristics of a synthetic fabric is it typically does not crease, or it shows minimal creasing. This is because of the synthetic structure. They're based off of plastics, and plastic tends to not show creasing as readily as something like a natural fabric. So the way you do this is you apply heat and pressure for a specific amount of time to both of these fabrics, and ultimately you see whether or not they crease. The easy way to do this is take the piece of fabric, roll it up into the palm of your hand, and close as tightly as possible. Hold it for around 10 seconds. Do the same thing on the other side, and we'll hold it for around 10 seconds. The heat, the pressure, the warmth that is created by the clenching of your fist is what's going to cause this creasing, if any. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll unfurl, and now we'll be able to see the effects of what we just done. So right here we have our two fabrics, and you can see they're both somewhat creased. The polyester spandex, all we need to do is give it a little bit of a stretch. Do the same thing on the cotton one. You can see on our polyester spandex blend, you're really not getting any sharp creases. They're extremely soft, and they tend to actually iron out very easily. This is because of this fabric's properties of not creasing. It's a synthetic fabric. It will not crease. Versus our natural fabric, you see these extremely sharp crease lines that are created by the heat and the warmth, and that's a telltale sign that something is a natural fabric versus a synthetic fabric. The second easy test to do is the heat and pressure test. So the way you do it is extremely similar to before. We're gonna take each of these fabrics, we're gonna roll them up, and we're gonna hold them in the palms of our hands. What is happening here? Again, we're creating pressure and warmth. What you'll notice is after a set amount of time, let's just say 30 seconds, the excess heat that can escape is gonna turn into your perspiration, into your sweat. What's gonna happen with these synthetic fibers is that they're not going to absorb the sweat. They're gonna wick them away. That's one of the main characteristics of a synthetic fiber. It's really good, it's hydrophobic. It's extremely good at wicking sweat away. So what's going to happen is you're almost going to feel the sweat build up on the palm of your hand, and the fabric itself is going to become much more noticeable. You're going to be able to start to feel the edges of the envelope of the fabric. As the sweat doesn't permeate through the hand and it actually builds up on the surface, you're gonna feel it. But on the other hand, you're gonna feel something a bit different with the natural fabric. The natural fabric is going to almost feel like it becomes part of your hand, because the warmth is able to circulate much more consistently and uniformly across your hand, because natural fibers do a great job at actually absorbing sweat and moisture. You're gonna notice a much more consistent heat build up around your hand. It's gonna permeate through your hand and it's gonna be a lot less noticeable as a fabric. I can already feel it. I can feel the surface of my hand over here, versus with this one, I almost no longer can tell that there's a specific fabric in there. It almost feels like my fingers are just clenched. So that is one of the easiest ways. Again, if you don't want to just do the clench test, you can also try out, and you can see here, there's definitely a bit more perspiration on this surface versus this surface. It's noticeable to the point where I can actually feel when I'm clenching my fist when I'm holding the synthetic fiber versus the natural fiber. But that's pretty much it. Those are two telltale ways to distinguish between natural fibers and synthetic fibers, and do with that information what you will. But hopefully you guys enjoyed these little secrets. If you guys want to see other episodes like this, consider subscribing. Honestly, we put out great content on a week-to-week basis. We'd love for you guys to be along for the ride. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.